A 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. It is likely that many things we buy will be getting more expensive. The stock market plunging more than 600 points on the news, plunging America into economic crisis. Both Canada and Mexico strike the United States at once. Could this be the beginning of a two-front trade war? In a startling turn of events, the White House announced in late March 2025 that new revisions to its auto tariff strategy would take effect immediately, blindsiding North America's biggest trading partners. Tension crackles across the continent. Are we about to witness the shattering of an entire supply chain, leaving consumers, automakers, and governments scrambling for urgent solutions? Stay with us, because the next few minutes will reveal how this crisis could escalate into a full-blown economic showdown nobody saw coming. The drama erupted when President Trump declared a 25% tariff on imported cars and auto parts, citing national security concerns. One official White House document from March 2025 hinted at broad enforcement, adjusting existing tariffs so sharply that trade experts sounded the alarm. That Donald Trump wants to impose extra tariffs on car imports, said one shaken narrator earlier this week, is no surprise given his track record. But the scope this time, it's massive. For years, the United States has relied on complex cross-border supply chains. According to a March 2025 White House fact sheet, nearly 37% of auto parts used by American factories come from neighboring countries. With new border taxes looming, economists warned that an America-first approach might paradoxically isolate the US from its main trade partners. Could this be the start of a full-blown trade war that spins beyond Washington's control? The immediate concern is price. If the cost of automobiles, or even the parts that keep them running, shoots up, everyday consumers and businesses could face crushing financial pressure. Another unwelcome possibility is a major disruption that stalls US auto manufacturing, jeopardizing jobs in Detroit, Ohio, and the broader Midwest region. Trump's administration, determined to stand firm, wields these tariffs as a shield for domestic industries. Yet the global ripple effects are impossible to ignore. Canada, already bruised by earlier steel and aluminum duties, expressed outright disbelief. "We didn't expect Mexico, they even outdid us," a Canadian news bulletin broadcasted, capturing the shock rippling through Ottawa. The possibility that both neighbors might retaliate at once looms large, sparking questions no one wants to answer. Will dual retaliation from both neighbors overwhelm US strategists? And if so, what happens next? Mexico wasted no time in striking back. Days after Trump's announcement, Mexico's president declared tariffs on US electric vehicles and other critical segments. "We do not accept the US tariffs on electric vehicles and automotive restrictions. We will implement our retaliation as soon as possible," he vowed in a public statement. According to Mexico's economy minister, these moves reflect a broader willingness to escalate. Industry insiders whisper that Mexico may also hit steel, agriculture, and technology in a dramatic multi-sector push. In what onlookers call a staggering shift, Mexico's leadership has pivoted overnight from polite diplomacy to unabashed defiance. After years of enduring negotiations and immigration pressures, Mexico now holds a strong trump card. It assembles roughly 2 million electric or hybrid car parts each year and ships a significant share north of the border. Could the White House really afford to undermine a primary source of EV components? This development even caught some US officials off guard. One official, speaking anonymously, admitted they'd never expected such a swift and aggressive stance, and that might only be the beginning. Some speculate Mexico's action is strategically timed to coincide with Washington's own internal struggles over border security and trade enforcement. Research from one trade group suggests that Mexican producers can easily adjust their supply channels, offering to sell EV components elsewhere if forced to do so. "We will not skimp on reciprocity," Mexico's economy minister warned again, doubling down on the stance that if the US enforces its tariffs to the fullest, Mexico will retaliate sector by sector. Hidden beneath the bravado is the awareness that Mexico's economy is intricately woven with the American market. But ironically, it's precisely that interconnectedness that gives Mexico its leverage. Perhaps the most shocking twist is how quickly Mexico pivoted from a historically cooperative partner to a formidable trade combatant, rattling boardrooms across the United States. Could the US risk losing multiple critical avenues, automotive, agriculture, steel, and more, all at once? While Mexico's response demands attention, Canada's parallel defiance adds ferocious intensity to the crisis. Prime Minister Mark Carney, deeply concerned that the United States is becoming an unreliable partner, boldly announced a retaliation date of April 2, 2025. "We will launch our retaliatory package on April 2, he declared, resolute and unapologetic. According to data from recent briefings, Canada supplies approximately 15% of US oil imports, exposing a shockingly under-acknowledged vulnerability. The resulting leverage is powerful. If Canada curbs shipments of oil, natural gas, or even electricity, the impact could reverberate through US households and businesses with startling speed. Until now, Canada often tried to stabilize negotiations and preserve cordial rapprochement with its southern neighbor. But the earlier steel and aluminum tariffs are still fresh wounds. The sense of betrayal is palpable, fueling an unusual show of collective Canadian outrage. "We didn't expect the White House to push this far," intimated one Canadian official. What makes this retaliatory strike even more dangerous is its breadth. Beyond the energy sector, Canada contemplates imposing tariffs on US-made automotive parts and potentially rolling back incentives for American electric vehicle brands like Tesla. US-Canada trade surpasses $800 billion a year, making any deterrent from Ottawa a real threat. Another stark reminder came directly from Prime Minister Carney: "If necessary, we will review the supply of oil, natural gas, and electricity to the US." That single statement reverberated through energy markets. Millions of people relying on stable North American energy flows wonder if their monthly bills and the broader economy might soon turn volatile. The future of the automotive industry is being reshaped. Electric vehicles have morphed into the central battleground of this trade conflict, with Tesla and Ford leading the US EV race. Mexico's new tariffs and Canada's retaliatory plans threaten crucial supply lines. Mexico has become a buzzing production hub for EV parts, luring global investors from Germany, Japan, and even China eager to compete in the next-generation technology race. As a result, any disruption to these cross-border logistics risks direct harm to American automakers, not to mention the potential loss of North America's broader competitive edge in the EV market. North American trade could exceed $1.4 trillion in 2024, according to a summary statistic from multiple trade bodies. But now, many worry that these protectionist measures and retaliatory strikes could blow holes in that projected figure. Some industry analysts are sounding the alarm, predicting a possible 30% drop in EV production if non-compliant parts face a 25% tariff. For consumers hoping to go green either for environmental reasons or long-term savings, this conflict cuts deeper than a standard trade spat. Will this sabotage the North American EV sector's global competitiveness at precisely the moment it needs unity and innovation? President Trump's directive seems aimed at curtailing foreign competition in the auto industry. Yet the rub is that American producers themselves rely on Mexican and Canadian parts and labor. One brand executive who requested anonymity confided that if these tariffs indeed go forward, we're looking at immediate disruptions to our EV rollout schedule. Another voice from the region is the president of Mexico himself, stating, "If unfair tariffs are imposed on us, we will make them pay for it." That statement hangs in the air like a storm cloud. Could the consequence be a global supply chain shift away from North America altogether? Tensions reach boiling point as two deadlines loom on the horizon. Canada's retaliatory package is just days away, April 2nd, followed by Mexico's more expansive measures on April 15th. As the US grapples with domestic political pressures leading into an election cycle, the question becomes whether the Trump administration can withstand a two-pronged assault on America's industrial heartland. A White House official recently admitted the president was surprised by Mexico's speed and severity, underscoring how quickly the situation escalated. "If the US imposes unilateral taxes, we will not skimp on reciprocity," Mexico's economy minister reiterated, hinting that automotive tariffs might only be the opening salvo. With so much at stake, jobs, prices, alliances, the fear is that a protracted standoff might jeopardize the entire USMCA framework. North America's integrated supply lines, meticulously developed over decades, now hang in the balance. What complicates matters further is the interdependence of raw materials, agriculture, and technology. All three economies share hundreds of billions in cross-border trade. As the Canadian Prime Minister openly questions Washington's reliability and Mexico eyes deeper retaliatory measures, the possibility of reconciliation feels fragile. One silver lining: behind the scenes, some diplomats whisper about organizing a trilateral summit to calm tensions. Maybe a trilateral summit will be organized and trade disputes will be discussed, an unnamed commentator speculated, offering a glimmer of hope in an otherwise grim standoff. But the clock is ticking. With April 2nd nearly here, followed closely by mid-April, the United States faces simultaneous deadlines from the North and South. Is the Trump administration prepared to negotiate compromise, or stand firm and face the storm? The stage is set for an explosive climax as April 2nd collides with April 15th, effectively pitting the US against coordinated retaliation from both Canada and Mexico. Washington's bold tariffs have unleashed something far more dangerous than a routine policy scuffle. Now, global investors watch anxiously. A meltdown could spark a continental recession, especially if supply lines for key industries like automotive, energy, and agriculture grind to a halt. Pride and principle have staked their claims on this confrontation, but the cost of miscalculation grows with every passing day. In a situation that might snatch away the stability countless workers and families rely on, leaders face an agonizing choice: either de-escalate the crisis now or let it erupt into a trade war that could change North America's economic landscape for years to come. As we stand on the edge of what could become one of the largest trade disruptions in recent history, the landscape remains frighteningly unclear. The next few weeks may determine not just the fate of USMCA but also the balance of power in North America's future. With two powerful neighbors uniting against the United States and an administration unwilling to back down, all eyes now fall on these imminent deadlines. April 2nd and April 15th loom, and no one can predict whether a last-minute diplomatic miracle might prevent total economic upheaval. Could the Trump administration's priority on national security ironically undermine the very manufacturing base it hopes to protect? Ultimately, only one question remains: is this just another political storm, or have we reached the point where North America's entire trading system is poised to unravel before our eyes?